What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Godspeed ZRZ. Now today we're going to go over the quirks and features of this Rubicon 392. Now it took me a little bit of time to actually find some of these features or figure out what they are, so I believe that's one of the biggest reasons there's not much info on these features or quirks out there right now. But let's go ahead and pull it out and we'll get started. Now before we even get started, hopefully you guys can tell that cold start was quite a bit quieter than what you guys should have been used to. I actually changed the exhaust again, but as you can see here, we've got it rigged up again in a different configuration. I actually put the mid-pipe back on, and the mid-pipe has the resonator in it, and then use those same tips. And I used the same tips that we were using to come out right there, and put them on back here just so we could get it turned down. And it's working out pretty well so far, but hopefully with that you guys will be able to hear me in these videos a little bit better. So to start off with the inside, obviously a lot of you guys have been able to tell I've got the different screensaver on the back here. Actually, with the Rubicon 392, you have options for a few different backgrounds than what you do on the standard Rubicons, and I'll go ahead and show you those now. So you'll go to settings here, then you'll go to display, and all you'll have to do is go to set theme. And with this, you've got a few different options. So we've got all the standard ones, I believe, until 6. Maybe farther. All right, so we got all the standard ones until option 8. Then you'll see option 9, and we've got a little racetrack there. Then option 10, you've got a checkered flag. 11 is snow, which I believe you do have in the other ones. Then you've got sand with a track going through it. Rock, just gray and black. A different racetrack. Then another sand dune. And then just a normal hexagon pattern. Let's go back to 8. So you can see 8 is actually the Rumblebee with the claws sticking out, which is pretty cool. That's how it looks in the background there. Another cool feature I did find on my most recent road trip is actually to do with the icon for adaptive cruise control. So we all know we're in the Rubicon 392 model, but whenever you click your adaptive cruise control button, it's actually a standard Rubicon, and you can tell that because of the fender vents on the top and not having the hood scoop. And you can tell it even in the little icon there with the fender vents instead of the hood scoop, which I thought was pretty funny. There are a few features like that that Mopar's actually taken the time to make it a Rubicon over a Sport. So I kind of find that weird that they didn't take the time to distinct the difference between the 392 and the normal Rubicon. And since we are on the inside, another feature that a lot of people don't know comes with these Rubicon 392s is actually the packages in terms of the Sirius XM. So for the Sirius XM, you actually have the radio for free for 6 months, which is standard pretty much across the board. Then you also have 5 years of XM traffic, you can see there, and 5 years of the travel link, which is right there as well, which is pretty cool. It does help. And then you also have 1 year of Sirius XM Guardian. And then of course, with all the Rubicons, any Jeep, I believe that's actually trail rated, you do get the Jeep Wave package, which is a pretty cool little package in terms of your maintenance plans. I think they've actually cut it back to only 3 oil changes, but you still have a few different perks in there, which are always nice to get. Now this next feature actually comes on every JL as far as I know, but it's something that a lot of people haven't talked about, and it's definitely something I wanted to mention. So whenever you open the tailgate here, you'll see there's a perfect little cutout right there to hold your beard. Everybody knows you gotta have a few of those whenever you're working on these things. Now for this next feature, we're gonna have to get out onto the road, that way I can really show you guys what it is. It's gonna be the torque reserve system that's set up in the Rubicon 392, technically as your launch control. So these don't have any specific launch control buttons like you'd usually see in the 392 models, or like you'd usually see in the Scat Pack models, in the Charger, Challenger, or even the Trackhawk or SRT Grand Cherokee. Which on that note, when's the new SRT Grand Cherokee gonna come out? With the torque reserve system, with your foot held down on the brake as well as your foot down on the gas, it'll actually it will limit the amount of fuel and spark that the motor is giving itself, and it will basically hold the RPMs at the most optimal range for you to pull out pretty much with the best amount of traction to the ground. And it's essentially launch control, but I'll show you guys what it sounds like. It actually makes a distinct sound whenever you're going through the process of that, and it lets you know when you're ready to go. Alright, so for this, I'm not going to engage any special modes. I'm going to leave Off-Road Plus off, and I am going to take traction control off so we can get the best rip possible. And these 392s, if you leave traction control on, you're usually not going to be able to pull out too quick. It just doesn't get enough traction even with the all-wheel drive. So we're going to put our foot down on the brake, foot down on the gas. And with traction control, it actually just ripped away. So we'll try it again with traction control off and see if we get any different outcome. Alright, so this time we're going to leave traction control on, and we're going to see if we get any different response with the torque reserve. It was actually quite a bit better. That's pretty impressive. So now that we're back, I know I've already showed you guys 5 hidden features, but I want to give you guys a little bit better look of some of the other features that a lot of people don't really talk about. So with this, you can see each different Jeep model comes with their own little badge, and for the Rubicon 392, it's pretty cool. And it actually shows that it's got 35-inch tires from the factory whenever they actually come standard with 33s, which I thought was pretty funny. And then aside from that, you've actually got your water fording capabilities, and then your stamp to show you where it's made, developed, built. And just so you guys know, these water fording capabilities are actually based off of a 35-inch tire. Now, of course, these do come standard with 33s, and you can see I've already added 35s to this one. But another feature that everyone was raving about was actually the bead locks. And you can tell here, you do have a true bead lock capable wheel. However, these are not true bead lock capable bead locks from the factory. I've actually taken these off already, and whenever you take them off, it's a smooth backside on the ring. And everybody knows if you're actually going to run a true bead lock, it needs to have a grooved, textured backside. That way it grips that tire. So this bead lock, in fact, is just a simulated bead lock. However, the wheels are bead lock capable. Another really cool feature in these that really gets overlooked is the SRT inspired steering wheel, which makes quite a big difference. And also, whenever you get the SRT inspired steering wheel in the 392, unlike the Mojave, you do have the paddle shifters on your steering wheel, which these paddle shifters are decent, they work okay, but they aren't as good as what they could be. Another little bonus is definitely the Hydro Guide cold air intake. And of course, with the Rubicon 392, the scoop is actually functional. And I know a lot of people already know about this, but you don't get too many opportunities to see it. And there's a good look at the Hydro Guide system, and apparently it works really well. I honestly haven't had a chance to test it out yet, But one thing I will say is this is definitely the heaviest hood of any Jeep Wrangler thus far. And of course, there's a good look at the Rubicon's 392 motor, that big old 6.4 liter Hemi. And one thing a few people don't consider, especially whenever they're used to being in just the Jeep customer base, these are actually rated for 91 octane or higher. So that is something to keep in mind. You can't just throw 89, 87 in these things and expect them to perform. These are rated and required to run 91 octane or higher. And since I'm just throwing in bonuses at this point, we can't forget about the CV axle shafts, which, we all know about that. And of course, we all know that's due in part to the all-time four-wheel drive and the way it's set up with the Select Track 2-7-2 transfer case. I guess the CV axle shafts give it a little bit more control, where the power is being sent to the front end almost all the time as well. So it does make sense. It's just one of those evil necessities. One last thing before we wrap it up. If you have been living under a cave, of course, the Rubicon 392 does come with the dual mode exhaust. So you have that button to press right there if you still have your muffler on. Obviously, with the way I've got this one set up, it doesn't really change anything, but you do have that button as well. And that's going to do it for today's video, guys. If I missed anything, or there's something you guys have found out that I don't know yet, let me know. Put it in the comments. But if you haven't already, please like, comment, subscribe. But until next time, just take it easy.